everyone. Hello. How are you doing? Hi. So, how is everyone feeling? Is it me or has winter just gone? Now's the time I'm going to be cold. I'm like in the south of the UK, so I was chatting to Jen and Jane earlier, and they were like icy, cold, snow, and I was like, well, it's just grey and wet, and there's not a lot going on. But yeah, it just feels like winter is just kind of all of a sudden hit like a ton of bricks. So welcome everyone. How are we all doing? Snow here. Wow. We just never get snow. If we do get snow down here, it's always like the whole county stops and it's like, oh my God, there's snow. What are we going to do? But how are you feeling? It's getting colder here in Milton Keynes. Yes, chilly here. Snow forecast later this week. We did have some murmurings of like maybe there'd be a bit of snow, but I don't know. We always get like this. Oh, it's gonna get cold next week, and then next week comes and it's like a little bit frosty, and then it goes back to this again. So, all right. So today we are going to be, or rather I say I am going to be answering some of your handmade business questions. So basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to like position my mic a little bit more better. So I'm going to be answering your questions. So today, you are going to pop a question in the comments and I'm going to answer them for you live. But not only are you going to see me live for those of you who are watching me live, but I'm also going to be recording a podcast episode on your questions at the same time. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of like a inception moment where for you guys who are joining me live, are watching me answer these live. And for those of you who are going to listen on the podcast or watch the replay, they're going to be listening/watching it. So it's kind of like a cool thing. So what I'm going to say now is if you guys could hit me with your questions in the comments, let me know any questions that you have. We can talk about marketing. We can talk about SEO. We can talk about listings. We can talk about how many products. We can talk about photos. We can talk about anything you want. And I would encourage you to, if you are struggling to think of a question, which is never a bad thing, by the way, to think about a more holistic view of you and your business, okay? Because it's not always got to be about strategy. It can be about make a mindset. It could be about how you're feeling about Q4, how you're feeling about next year. We could talk about goals. We could talk about staying consistent. There's a lot of other things outside of strategy and all that good stuff, okay? So if you do have any questions, hit me with them. I am here at your disposal to answer any questions that you might have. And while I'm doing so, while I'm waiting for your questions, one of my students hand paints, well, not only earrings, but a lot of other things. And I bought these earrings from her and they are just so cute. They don't quite go with what I'm wearing, but I was like, you know what? They're too damn cute not to wear. So Leah, thank you very much for making these. They are awesome. All right. So Blecky says, well, is it January already? Is it getting a bit busy and overwhelming at the moment? How do you try and keep calm in this busy period? Oh, good question. So with this, you really have to take a holistic view, like I've said. And although things are getting busy, which is amazing because that is what we want you to be busy. We want you to have lots of orders. It shouldn't come at the detriment of everything else in your life. So you've still got to be taking care of yourself. You've still got to really keep on top of everything that makes you feel good, everything that fills your cup. So I suppose the first thing I would say is list 3 things that fill your cup. What are 3 things that recoup your energy, make you feel good, make you feel less drained, less meh, and less grey? So, Waleki, if you want to pop them in the comments, let me know. But what are 3 things that fill your cup? Okay. Now, once you have your 3 things, I want you to make those a non-negotiable multiple times a week. I'm not going to say daily because let's be honest, we're not all going to be doing these things every single day. Okay. So put these in your calendar, time block them if you have to. Okay. That's the very first thing. The second thing is, especially at this time of year, you want to make sure to be taking regular breaks. I cannot tell you the amount of times that way back when I was making jewelry from like 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and it was just boom, 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 and it was just constant. I had my mum on board. I had my husband on board. I had everyone and their dog on board to just help me stay on top of orders. But what I thought I was doing was being super productive, right? Was like, I can't take a break. I can't take a break. I have to carry on. I have to do this, this, and this. I've got this order and this order. But actually, what ended up happening, because I wasn't taking a break, was that I was making mistakes and I was sending the wrong things out and swapping labels over and doing like a whole other thing. And it was just not really working. So when I actually look back, it actually ended up costing me more in money, time, effort as well, for me to replace all the things that I sent out that were wrong, to fix the mistakes that I make, basically, rather than me just taking a break. And there's one really specific tool that I use to this day. And if you type into Google Pomodoro, Pomodoro timer, it's a free little website that you literally click the start button and it will time you for 25 minutes. Now you work like the billio for 25 minutes, okay? And then when the 5-minute timer comes up, you take a 5-minute break. You can sit in your chair if you want to. You can do a little dance break. You can go make a cup of tea, go to the loo, scroll on social media, whatever, just as long as you're taking a damn break. And I must say, I found that that was something that helped me a lot, because it just meant that even though it was only 5 minutes, I took some time away. So that was those are the two things that I would say for you to do first off. The third and last thing would be, I would say that you have to have boundaries. And what I would say is have personal T's and C's as well as you do for your business. So you have business terms and conditions and whatever, and boundaries, but you also have personal T's and C's and boundaries as well. So if that means not going out late the night before, not agreeing to go to a Christmas party when you know you've got to film a bunch of social media stuff or whatever early the next day, then that's what it means. It really depends on what that is for you. So I hope that helps. But I think personal boundaries and personal policies and personal T's and C's are really underrated, and it's something that we should all do. Alrighty, right, let me go to let me have a little look at some comments on Instagram. Sorry, that meant to be printables, thanks. I think it's cutting off comments on Instagram, so I can't actually see any comments on Instagram, but someone said, and get your eyes tested. I have got a new pair of glasses. So I have these are my old pair, which I don't wear on lives because the glare. If I was to put these on now, you'll see exactly what I mean. Like, how annoying is that? You just get this like glare off your so I tend to just squint and struggle instead and make the screen really big. But it's not actually for my eyesight, which I didn't know. It's actually for the muscles around my eyes. Who knew? But yeah, I have just got another new pair of glasses that are in the house, but these are my old ones. So all right, let me pick another question. Can you have too many listings on Etsy? Ooh, okay, so that's it's a really tricky question to answer, because it depends on, are they all relevant to your target audience? That's my first question. Because if your target audience is coming into your shop, whether it's on Etsy, your own website, I teach both, they should want to and feel like they are included in all of the products. AKA, it's a bit like when you walk into Lush, and I always use Lush as an example because I am such a huge fan of Lush. I can talk about it from a fangirl point of view. But when I walk into Lush, it's like everything is my cup of tea. I am walking around, I've got my basket, I'm like, yep, a bit of that, 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 right? But if someone walks into your store, and now this can be online, it can be a craft booth, whatever, and you have products in there that they're not really vibing with, they're a bit like, yeah, it's not really for me, then that can be tricky. Because what happens then is people then start to get a disconnect from you and your brand. So I guess my first question to you would be, are they all extremely relevant to your target audience and your niche? Okay. If they're not, then yes, you can. If they are, then no, you can't. Caveat, you need to make sure that you organize your shop really, really well so people can find what they need to get to. It's like ASOS. They have like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of listings, but because their search is so advanced, they organize the categories really, really well. You never feel overwhelmed when you go on there. So it's kind of like that. Alrighty, Roo. Karen says, hi, Steph. Is it better to be 100% perfect on the whole of your Etsy shop before taking the next step to grow your business, or when you reach a certain point? Oh, Karen, I love this question. So I hate to break it to you, Karen, but perfectionism is a form of fear. Okay. I speak from experience here, by the way. Perfectionism is a form of fear, okay? When we want to get something 100% perfect, it is because we have a fear. And it can be, for example, a fear of failure. It can be a fear of people judging us. It can be a fear of us feeling like we're not good enough because we've not put our all into it. It can be a fear of not overworking because you feel like you need to work hard to earn the money that you do. There's a lot of fear rolled up into perfectionism. Now, I'm not saying that you are a perfectionist, but it is something that you have to look for and make sure that you're not seeing those traits come up. So I would say 80% done and actually making progress is much better than 100% done and staying stagnant for 6 months. I'm not quite sure if that answers your question, but I would say do whatever it is that you want to do, because if you know it's the right next step and you're not quite there yet, you will be. Eventually, it will take time, and you're never going to be 100% there because you will learn things along the way. Like Karen, if I say to you, is your business the same as it was a year ago? You'd probably say, no, of course not. And the funny thing about that is that if you had like this time last year waited until taking the next step until things were 100% perfect, would you have ever moved forward? The answer is probably no. So yeah, I would say no, for sure. And I think a lot of people would also say that. I think a lot of people listening now, watching now, are probably like, no, just do the thing that you have to do, right? Jackie, I struggle to get Etsy customers from liking my made-to-order painted furniture listings to making an inquiry. So your question is, I suppose, more about how do I get from favorites to sales and or people messaging me? So that's a great question. So people use, and I would love for you guys in the comments now to let me know, how do you use the favorites function when you shop? Is it a wish list? Is it a save for later that you're going to go back and buy? Is it a like Christmas gift registry type thing? Like how do you use the favorites, right? So for me, it is things that I am like 80% of the way to buying, but there's just something there that I need to either check out first or I need to ask a question. It's stuff that I don't want to lose, because you know what it's like. You refresh Etsy and boom, it's gone. But it's something that I am interested in, but I need to know a little bit more about it first. So if it's the latter, something is going on within your listing that is turning people off from pressing the go button or the message button or the buy button or the add to cart button, or whoever's listening, whatever that thing is for you. Okay. Whatever your call to action is. Okay. So you need to make sure that you objectively, and if you need some friends to help you with this, then that is grand, that is great. But you need to objectively look at your listing and say, if I was a customer, would there be any objections to me buying? For example, if it's a big item, how does it come posted? Do they have to be in to sign for it? How does it come packaged to ensure it's not damaged? Do I do personalized options, last Christmas posting dates? Especially at this time of year, if any of you are getting a lot of favorites, by the way, as of recording this, it is Q4 if you're watching the replay, but if you're getting a lot of favorites at this time of year, that is completely normal, but you have to really look at how can I really get people over the edge, right? For me, it's a wish list. Yes. Fat Badger also says a wish list. Yes. Waiting for something to go on sale. I would say yes, that is something that people do, but I would say that it's definitely something that not a great deal of people do. And the fact of it is that if they are still saving it, even if they are waiting for a code, fine, because your pricing should include that. So if someone's waiting for a code, you should be like, cool, all the more for them, because I'm going to send them the code and they're going to use it and I'll get a sale and I'll make still a lot of profit. So actually, like, them putting it into their wish list, waiting for a code, it's not really a bad thing because your pricing should include that and then some, right? So you then follow up to say on Instagram or Facebook, right? So with that, it is pretty much the same process. There is something about it that they are saving, and I assume you're talking about the saves, right? So there's something about how you've presented it that they are not sure on. It doesn't matter where this is or where it is. If they are saving something, they are showing interest. They are pretty much opting in for this item to stay on their profile in some way, shape, or form. Doesn't matter if it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, whatever, right? They are wanting to revisit it at some point. But there is something turning them off of doing the thing that you want them to do now. Okay. So I hope that helps. Awesome. Right. Let me go on to Instagram. Okay, so I am at the other end of the scale and I haven't started my shop yet. I have my niche and have got items ready made, but I can't seem to start. Okay, so what is it about starting that you have a block over? Is it time? Is it money? Or like, what is it that is stopping you from starting your shop? Okay. Now this was Joe Denston over on Instagram. So if you're still with me, Joe, I would love to know, what is that block? What is that thing that is stopping you from taking the plunge? It's really important. And I say this all the time, but when you start, scale, run a business, it is as much of a personal journey as it is making money, right? Making money is almost like the offshoot of you starting, creating, whatever, a business, right? So this is where you have to start becoming very, very aware of how you're talking to yourself, the kind of thoughts that are going around in your mind, and just your overall mindset on this new venture that you want to do. Okay, so I always love to say that a handmade business is like a big old mirror that's reflecting your internal view of yourself, of the world, of everything, your thoughts, your memories, your feelings, your values. It's reflecting those outwards. And I see this happen a lot where you've probably seen this in the past, where you go onto someone's shop and you're like, it's just not clicking for me. There's the brand colors look nice and everything looks okay, but it's just missing that X factor. 9 times out of 10, that is because a business owner is reflecting values that they think they have, but they don't. So all of this to say, Joe, is that I would love to know what that sticking point is. If it's the strategy, if it's not knowing where to start, well, my love, you're in the right place because I have a ton of podcast episodes. In fact, if you go to episode, I'm going to find one for you now, on the podcast. Let me just find it for you. There's like a 45-minute episode of like a massive checklist of everything that you need. Okay, so if you go to episode 7, it's literally titled Starting a New Etsy Shop or Handmade Business. This is your to-do list. It is a chunky episode, literally listing out all of the things that you need to do. Okay. Now there's also the HBSA, which is my signature course as well. So if that sounds good, if you're vibing with me, then there is that option there too. There's a ton of other podcast episodes, reels, there's stuff on Instagram. You can DM me if you like, but that is the thing. If it's a strategy side, that you need to nip in the bud. If there is something holding you back and you're not sure what that thing is, then that is, I would say, look at your mindset. Now, the other thing that I will say is the book. I don't know if you guys know, but I do have a book. You would have seen it on the intro video and on the outro video. And if you're watching on the podcast, I'll link it in the show notes. Sorry, if you're listening on the podcast, I will link it in the show notes. But if you just type in how to be a handmade boss on Amazon, you will find it. It's got my face on it. But that is an amazing book to get because it asks you coaching questions. It's a workbook and it really digs into the strategy behind it all as well. And it's great if you are starting a shop, doing a launch or a relaunch of a shop, whatever. That's a fantastic way to look at it, says Nancy. Yay, awesome. Okie dokie. Sue, this is me at the moment. I need to go over the maker mindset again and listen to the podcast. Yes, for sure. Okay, if you do have any more questions, guys, let me know in the comments. If I have missed it, you're gonna have to copy and paste it and put it in again because sometimes it keeps flicking up. So when I scroll up and then a new comment comes in, it flicks it back up again. So if I haven't answered any of your questions, hit me with them. I struggle for people to leave me a photo on their reviews. So with this, it is something that you are going to have to prompt, okay? Because let's be honest, people leaving reviews in this day and age, I'm showing my age now, in this day and age is a big deal because I don't know about you, but every time you go into a shop, it's like scan this and win a £100 gift card or scan or do this and leave us feedback. And we are bombarded with review, feedback. So what I would suggest is however you are getting them to leave reviews now, that can be a post-purchase message. It can be a little QR code that you send out actually in the package itself. It can be a social media giveaway, whatever it is that you are doing to get reviews now, you just got to add in there, hey, and if you leave me a photo on your review, it means the world to me. You could run a competition if you want to and say, if you do attach a photo with your review, you'll be entered into a prize draw, or I'll send you a 20% off coupon or something like that. You're not bribing them to give them a review. You're just saying, hey, if you link a photo with it, then that's great. But whatever you're doing, be more direct as to what you want. 9 times out of 10, guys, if your customers are not taking the action that you want them to take, you got to be more direct with them because they don't know what you want them to do. Right? It sounds stupid. I know it sounds really obvious and you're like, well, duh. But you know what? There are so many of you that I go onto your social media profiles because I do snoop. I do have a look. And I'll have a look and it doesn't say add to cart. It doesn't say leave me a comment. It doesn't say share and save. It says nothing. And people want to know what the next steps are. Right, let's have a look back on Facebook. When are you opening the doors to Handmade Bosses again? So the HBSA, it will be open next year. We haven't kind of got down exactly when, but we're probably talking late spring now. Yes. Sarah says, most photos people leave on my shop reviews look horrible. Yeah, and that's the other thing as well, is that photos that people just kind of go, ugh. Take a picture of. They're not always going to be fantastic, you know what I mean? So if you are looking for user generated content, which seems to be a buzzword right now, which basically is content that people create for you, aka photos, videos, whatever, then it might be worthwhile maybe looking at the influencer route and sending some of your products in exchange for a story, a post, a photo, whatever. That's another option. Or running a giveaway on social media and doing it that way instead. Because I think a lot of the main reasons why people do leave bad pictures is because I think, okay, let me start again. I think one of the main reasons why people leave bad pictures or they look bad is because the quality that Etsy uploads them in is not great. Am I the only one walking around saying, "Oh, righty Roo"? No, that is completely me. Let me have a look. I have just bought the book. Yay! Awesome. You're gonna love it. Make sure you read it though. Do you know what? I saw the other day a load of my book, well not a load, like 2 or 3 of my books on eBay for more money than they are on Amazon, brand new, than they were used. I was like, dude, what? Just buy a new one. I mean, sure. Nancy says, I have a hard time getting people to leave reviews. I make downloadable planners. I've tried everything from adding in a little card. I place it in the order when downloading. I need ideas on how to leave one. They buy and are gone. I've even tried messaging after to see how the training is going, but I feel like people cringe at that. Okay, Nancy, this goes back to what I just said, and that is people need to know what you want from them. People need to know what the next steps are. Okay, now it sounds like you've done a lot of like the surface level things, which is, you know, card, messaging them, whatever. But I think that you have said there in your second message that I feel like people cringe at that. Has anyone actually directly said you are cringe, lol? Has anyone actually messaged you this? Have you got evidence of this fear, of this belief? Or is it a self-imposed thing? Is it something that you have created as a story for yourself? And that's not me calling you out, by the way. That is, I do this a lot myself as well. That's me literally being like, is there evidence based on this? Because the thing is that if you are reaching out and being helpful and saying, hey, I want to know, are you getting the most out of this? Are you doing XYZ? Here's a little checklist or video or whatever to ensure that you're getting the most from this, going above and beyond. And I think that is the thing with downloadables, is that there is less touch points when you sell PDFs, downloadables, images, whatever. There's less brand touch points because it's literally buy, click, download, done. That's it. Relationship over, right? So I think if you do sell digital downloads at any point, I think it's worthwhile really looking at how can you go above and beyond. And I think you've almost stopped yourself before a point of going above and beyond because you're worried about being cringe. And personally, if I was, and I know what you sell because you're in the HBSA, but if I was buying something like that, I would want your help. I would want you to be like, yeah, you know what? I really want you to give me a hand here. You know what I mean? So I would say have a little look at that and see and see if it's an evidence-based thing, right? I think as well, the other thing that I would say is message them once or twice and just say, you know, if you don't sell downloadable things and you're like, how do I get reviews anyway, right? Message them and just say, hey, I'm just checking in. Like, I am a small business owner. I'm literally sat here typing this right now. And I do a little happy dance. If you leave me a review, it means the world to me. And as a small business owner, I get a boost in the algorithm and it means the world to me. It's like a 2-minute thing for you. It makes my week for me. And I think sometimes just being honest and just saying and just calling a spade and saying, hey, you know what? It's hard out there, man. Like, I am struggling against an algorithm that sometimes hates me, sometimes loves me. It doesn't, by the way, but, you know, putting that in there kind of paints a little bit more of a picture, right? And then you just saying, you know what? It doesn't take you all that long to do this, but it does mean the world to me. I think that's a really important thing. When you post a product on Instagram/Facebook, do you add the link for Etsy every time? I mean, if you want to sell it on Etsy, yeah, sure. If you have your own website, you can do it then too. But yeah, like if that's the action you want them to take, you must ensure that every time you're posting something, there is some kind of call to action attached to it. And if you want them to buy, then that is a great place to start. Just added the book to my basket to order once I watch this. Yay, awesome. Someone asked me the other day, they said, I can't remember how they worded it, but basically they were like, oh, you must make a lot of money with your books. And I was like, huh? And they said, well, you know, it's like $14.99. And I was like, girl, Amazon takes like 80% of that. And she was like, oh, really? I was like, yeah. I literally make like I think like £2 per book, and that's obviously eaten up by VAT and fees and whatever. So I make nothing from the book. So I have no there is no benefit to me promoting the book. And believe me, if and when I write another book, I'm going to sell it myself. Lesson learned. But yeah, I don't make anything from the book. So if you want to buy it, cool. If you don't, that's cool too. It makes no odds to me. It doesn't anyway if you're buying anything else from me. You know what I'm like. I'm very chill. I'm probably like the world's worst marketer, salesperson, whatever. But the book especially is a bit like, it doesn't matter. I love doing a happy dance when I get a sale or 5-star review. Yes, have a little sip of my tea before it goes cold. And yes, my mug is disgusting. I know someone somewhere is going to go, ooh, Steph, your mug is gross. Yes, I know it's gross. I haven't washed it, okay? Still tastes good though. How much should I be spending on Etsy ads to make it worthwhile? Okay, so it's less of a how much should I spend to make it worthwhile and more of a ratio between how many listings you are switching on to be advertised versus how much budget you have. Now, if you've been with me for a while, say it with me. It's $1 a day per bestseller. Okay, please, anyone who is watching this right now, please, if you are advertising anything that has not already proven to be best sellers in and of itself, do not put Etsy ads on them, because all you're doing is flushing money down the toilet. Because if it's not sold on its own, you putting money behind it it's not proven to sell for you. So why would you put money behind it? Okay. So if you are going to do ads, it is best sellers only, $1 a day per bestseller. Start with 1 if you have to. That's fine. Start with 2, start with 3, whatever feels good for you. But don't put like $5 a day across like 50 items in your shop, because your ads budget will get eaten up by like 10 a.m. right? Forever Floral says $1 a day per bestseller. Talking typing so I don't forget. Yes, $1 a day per bestseller. $1 a day per bestseller. $1 a day per bestseller. That's always been my rule. Always, and it always works too, because it's enough of a budget to make sure that you have a good, decent budget throughout the day, but also it's not overwhelming, and you can it's just a nice, easy round number. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. Do Etsy ads actually bring in orders? Yes, if you follow the right strategies, if you do everything right. I teach this in the HBSA course, and we do go kind of in it. But like I said, $1 a day per bestseller. If the item is selling well on its own, without Etsy ads, without any money behind it, putting $1 a day per bestseller, $1 a day per bestseller is literally like putting fuel on the fire. And that is good. That is what we want. Okay. But that being said, I don't want any of you to do the $1 a day per bestseller thing and then leave it for a day and then panic and then switch it off, because that's literally doing nothing. You got to turn ads on, commit to them for 2 weeks, because that's how long it takes. 2 weeks. Don't change anything for 2 weeks. Make sure that if it's $1 a day per bestseller, I mean, let me just get my calculator up real quick. 2 seconds. So $1 a day. So that is 14. Why did I have to get my calculator out for that? It's $14. Why did I have to get my calculator for that? That's hilarious. So $1 a day per bestseller. Make sure that you commit to spending that $14 for 2 weeks. That's hilarious. $14, right? And make sure that you are committing to spending that. I don't want you tweaking and changing things. You've got to put ads on, leave it for 2 weeks. Okay. So £1 a day. So Etsy ads are in dollars a day. So if it's in pounds a day, let me do $1 in pounds. Oh, my thingy wife, 79p. 79p per bestseller. 79p per bestseller. I think some people have actually started to roll out doing ads in pounds rather than dollars. Yeah. Right. Let me. That's shocking. Yes, me too. When I first launched the book, I was like, "Oh my god, yes, this is amazing." And then, sorry, I've got something in my eye. And then I got my first like paycheck from them, and I was like, "Huh?" Then I learned very, very quickly that actually Amazon takes a lot. So yeah, if you're ever buying books on Amazon, especially if you're doing Kindle, that's even worse. It's like 79p. If that, it is really, really, really bad. That's why authors have to create so many books all of the time, because it's like, if you don't, you're not making anything anywhere near enough to live off of. It's quite an eye-opening thing when you start to kind of get into the world of like authoring. That's not a word, is it, Steph? Writing and being an author. You start to realize, wow, like, for the amount of information that books have, you don't get anything much back from it. Right. Any other questions that you guys have? I'm just scrolling around on Instagram, making sure that I've not missed anything. Sorry, I had to dip out. I don't know if you answered my question about what was printables, about my question, which was about printables, and if you have any specific tips. Let me start again. Okay. My question is about printables. If you have any specific tips. I sell cross-stitch patterns and I've only sold 5 to date since May. So really, it's the same tips that I would say for any other product. Let me find you a couple of podcast episodes. So episode 1 would be a really good one for you to listen to. That talks a lot about the beginner's guide to the Etsy algorithm. So that talks a lot about what you need to do to rank, how it works, and all that good stuff. Episode 4 is talking about how to resurrect a dead shop. So if you do feel like your shop is not doing so hot and you're like, damn, I need to bump things up a bit, episode 4. Episode 5 talks about how to actually get your products ranking, which is very different to episode 1, right? We also have episode 7, which talks about, if you are new, how to start things off on the right foot. Now, if you do have a shop, which I know that you said that you have, it's sometimes worth going back to that, because if you haven't done a few things on that checklist, that might be enough of a tweak and change to actually start to get sales. And let me see if there is another one for you. I'd say the big update ones are really good as well. And I reckon episode 14 and 16 as well. So I'm not sure if you've like written that down. But episode 14 and 16 would be another couple that will really, really help you. I need to find the one that talks about the home hub as well. Here we go. That's another one that's actually not long been out. What's the best way to drive traffic to your Etsy shop? Loaded question. For you, I am going to say episode 26 will be a really great one for you. It talks about this thing that I call a home hub, and you might have heard me talk about this before, but basically a home hub is really, really, really looking at, okay, what is that one place where you like to market? It can be Instagram, it can be email, it can be a Facebook page, it can be a Facebook group, it can be TikTok, it can be Pinterest, whatever that is. It is that one platform that you use anyway, that you vibe with, that you enjoy. And it is looking at, okay, this is where I'm going to nurture people outside of my Etsy shop, outside of my website. This is the problem with, and I'm personally seeing this happen a lot. I don't know about you guys. I want you to give me like a little thumbs up or a heart or something in the comments, because I am seeing a lot of Etsy influencers who are shrouding themselves as a coach, but they are not. Various people that work for various tools, that are affiliates, that are doing side transactions, shall we say, all sorts of people that are glorifying the process, that are saying, oh my God, all you have to do is throw up an Etsy shop, do this, and this, spam a bunch of different links and a bunch of different Facebook groups, boom, call it a day. And while that might work for a week, for 2 weeks, you might see some traffic. You might be like, oh, yes, brilliant, fantastic. It's not a long-term thing. Okay, it's not a long-term thing. So what I talk about instead is a home hub. And this is where you nurture your customers outside of your e-commerce site, whether that's Etsy, your own website, whatever. Now, the thing is that this has become a lot more important now than ever before. Since 2020 and 2021, if you have seen a decline in sales, this is more than likely why. Okay. And it is because if you are not building trust with your customers, if you are not nurturing them, if you are not showing up for them on a consistent basis and connecting with them as damn human beings, then I'm afraid that you are not building a brand. And building a brand is, heads up, that is literally the whole point. Because we want a legacy business. We're not here to make a quick buck and then bugger off and that's it. You never see him again, right? So a home hub, episode 26, I talk a lot about it there. It is definitely worth a listen for sure. Now, the other thing is, please pick one platform. Don't make the mistake of thinking that, if you're on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and this, that you're going to get all those people, because they all have their own target audience. If you go and look up now, the audience on TikTok versus Facebook, they are completely different. Facebook is kind of like aimed now anyway at the kind of age range slightly older. TikTok is slightly younger. If you're trying to reach like 13 to 23 year olds, TikTok is your jam. It might well be, right? But Facebook might be, if maybe you're looking at between, 35 to 65, that might be more your jam. Now, the other thing with a home hub is that if you hate posting videos and creating them, why are you using TikTok? If you don't like it, don't use it. There are no hard and fast rules. Okay. So literally episode 26, okay, is the one that I want you to listen to, because it does talk a lot about the home hub and the nuances with that. All right, I'm going to answer one more question because I am hungry. I haven't had any food yet. All right, is it too late to use ads for Christmas sales? Not at all. No, it's not. You can use them at any time, but is it too late to list items for Christmas? You need to have listed them like yesterday, but I would say you might be cutting it a little bit fine. As we know, the algorithm works in 3 to 4 month intervals, right? That's how it works. That's how it always has worked. So if you're listing your Christmas items now, you might be hitting it a little bit late. Still worth doing it, just to see if you find people that, you might get pushed up to and you might get lucky. But I would say with ads, no, you're fine. If you could give the most important tip for printables or downloadable products, what would it be? Oh my God, there's not one tip. I break it to you, my love, but there is not one tip. It's if someone says to you, here's one tip, they are lying to you straight up. And I'm saying this with love, but they are lying to you. I think the number one thing with printables and downloadables is that you have to lean into your USP. Digital downloads, because there are a lot of I would say Etsy influencers of shrouding as being coaches that are saying downloadables, DIY downloadables, Canva templates, this and this. What has happened now is the market has become super flooded with digital products. I don't know what Etsy is going to do about that. I really don't. If you were to say to me, what are the future of digital downloads looking like on Etsy? I would be like, do you know what? For the first time, I really don't know. But what it does mean is that it is flooded, absolutely flooded with, that was shopped with, I saw a shop the other day with 12,000 digital downloads. Okay. The thing that you have to do is stand out from all of that. And I call it the sea of mediocrity. If you go onto Etsy now and you do a search for what it is that you sell, you will see a bunch of crap. Okay. You got to stand out from the crap. If you don't stand out, you're blending in and you're not going to get any love at all. So I guess along those lines, the best piece of advice that I would give to you, my love, is your USP. Find out what that is. Lean into that, because if you don't, you are going to get lost, and it's not going to make a scrap of difference how much money you spend on ads, how nice your pictures are, how lovely your SEO is, how many people you drive from Facebook or from Instagram or from TikTok. It doesn't matter. Will you get some sales? Yes, you will, but you're never going to get to those heights because you're not leaning into what makes you special, which incidentally is what people come to Etsy for in the freaking first place, right? All right, then, everyone. So I would love to hear from you. Has this been helpful? Have you enjoyed this? What have you enjoyed the most? Let me know in the comments, because I love to see your feedback. Whenever I'm doing these, I would love to see what your aha moment is, what you've liked about it. If you've just enjoyed hanging out with me with a cup of tea, then just say that. If you've got your questions answered and you're like, this has been great, fab, thank you. If you've been like, Steph, I just vibe with how you put things, you're very, I don't know, honest and whatever, say that. I would just love to know, because I don't ask enough, and I would love to hear some kind of feedback from you guys. I just got to see this little bit in training at work. Oh, you should. Oh, naughty, but also awesome. You can watch on replay right after this is done. I'm going to reshare it so you'll be able to watch it. You've just been my break on a busy day. Love that, Walecki. Love that. Yes, you found it helpful. Awesome. Thank you. I'll be checking on Etsy ads and listening to episodes 4 and 5. Yes, they're so good. I love doing like complete guide episodes. Really enjoy your lives. Always learn something. Yay, Wendy. So I'm just about to wrap up, my love. Literally, I'm just about to go. So if you do have questions, you're in the HBSA. Use the HBSA group. Literally, that's the best place for your questions. So yes, awesome. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining me. I hope that you have found this immensely helpful. Don't forget, you've got the book, you've got some other bits. Right when I end the live, stay tuned, because there is like a little cute QR code that has all of like the good resources from today and all the good stuff. So make sure to grab your phone, scan them, because there's going to be some awesome stuff coming up for you. I've got a fancy outro video now. Check me out. But guys, there will not be a live next Monday because I am away. I'm going away, which is amazing. So there won't be a live next week, but you can catch the replays on all of the other lives from the past 4 or 5 years if you fancy it. Have a little scroll back through. You can rewatch this one. You can read the book, everyone's homework, if you haven't already, for next Monday's read the damn book, and listen to some episodes. But my loves, thank you all for coming, and I will see you all soon. Bye, everyone.